You know, and once it all comes up, then you put that X,
Okay.
X out of it, because if you don't, it X goes.
Okay,
So, yeah.
that's it. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Did you see? The other night.
And I
So
just
as
put
soon
it
as
up,
I
I said,
got it, will it say, recording? Is that what it says?
Yep, it's recording now, I think.
Oh, dear. Okay,
Yeah, but you do have to say got it, or just say got it.
okay, but I should do that right now, or wait till I'm ready to start the meeting?
Don't break now,
Okay,
because that's just, that was saying you'd be in live stream.
okay,
Once you start YouTube is started, so
okay. It's recording.
it's recording on YouTube. So whatever you say, the world's gonna hear.
All right, I'll tell everybody. Okay.
And I can't tell if your Zoom is recording or not. Where's the top? It's a video. There's no recording button there. Usually it's here, it says, yeah, you click on record.
Yeah, usually there's a place.
Oh, yeah, this, oh. That's it. Hold on this computer. So you can pause that. And when you're ready to start it, just click on that red button and the arrow. That was weird. You can do that. You're welcome.
Terry, I'll put it back down when I'm ready.
Okay. Why don't you sit here and freeze?
Okay.
Well, then, yeah.
Oh,
And then-
sure. Thank you for bringing that.
One second.
Third.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Thank you for, yeah, and I got one, I think for your original. Yep.
So,
Oh, how are you?
they got, yeah,
Yeah.
they got phases.
Right, thank you for coming in, so I can see if I got things in order.
Oh, good. It's coming up.
Is it coming?
Start cleaning these reports.
Oh, yeah. So much fun.
No.
Good evening.
How do we, there's a place there, I have dates there. Okay. But you can move it, I just put things
Yeah,
there.
that's good.
Can see people. I'm trying to get them all around. And then I put extra agendas there for the public. And if you want to move around, you can. Just pick the seats.
I feel chill, you did cool.
I just turned the heat up about 5 minutes ago. It's coming. It's coming.
Right.
So we need Candace and Gabe. So run the meeting.
I emailed him something just tonight, so thinking he would bring his iPad and stuff. Really nice.
Yeah, okay.
I was gonna do that, but I figured that was a pushy, actually, I have about 2 pictures to send.
Well, I
Something like this one, you know, I'm fun. This is a library version. It's,
yeah. There you go.
yeah. Is that yours? What is it? It's kids' room. Child or library? Or a library. Yeah, fun, yeah. Goes with the theme I had on the other one, but it, you know, I saw that one and I was like, yeah. But then like, this is in Delaware and that's a fairly simple out view from outside, which makes it quite nice looking. It's not New England, but I was just looking at
Yeah.
different things.
I brought a picture. Here comes that. This. Yeah. Very much. Yeah.
And I don't know.
Sure have a place in,
And this is another one. Don't mind this little stuff.
I'm sending to, sure. So this.
Well, I've got you over there. Cause I got Gabe there.
might be an extra.
No,
It's, I have a
You can sit
paperwork.
next to me if you'd rather.
I'm just trying to get the people around.
Getting douched. What? I
Yeah,
didn't imagine red as being a color, but this was a New England, town, bigger than ours, but not hugely bigger. And it had some really nice, back side was.
Yeah, the black stuff, right here.
Yeah, that was another one I saw. It was more New England, no, yes, and then the front interior. Where?
The question coming, which is, you know, there might be material that I'm not aware of.
There's lots of things, you know, out there.
I sent him a picture of shingling, which is patterned,
Yeah,
and that's very pretty because it looks like waves and stuff. And
Where was that? Do you remember where?
it's just
yeah.
the picture of
Yeah.
the ceiling, yeah. And,
Yeah,
And then until, you know, we'll talk about it, but that's sort of like, you know, like the like representing maybe the character of the house homes, maybe the water.
I have this one, which is, very similar to what we have. But it seems very minimal to me.
Yeah, you know, a nice roof line.
We
Well,
want to
we
be
want-
said for a nice roof.
Well, and solar, events, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's the thing I was gonna say, whatever roof line, you gotta look at what's the best for
for
getting.
solar, yeah.
Because it's gotta be at 90 and facing the south.
Yeah.
If you don't do a ground mount. So it-
And we don't
Which
want
way
to-
is south?
The south is the back, so
The
that's
back.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what
I disagree, ground mount's quite nice. I had one.
Well, yes, but we've got a playground and a skate.
Yeah.
park and-
I can do exterior, I can
And
interior, but that's pretty well.
Not a decent,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, free.
But that's fine, because it's easier to clean off the ground
Well,
mount.
it's just convenience, but, you know, we want to protect the ground as much as
Wherever you
possible,
want.
and since you have a room there, you know, ideally, that could wear it.
Sounds like I like You're waiting for game.
Okay, then let's see. The roof over the parking lots with solar panels, and did you say, did you have
An exterior you wanted to show or?
an extra one?
An exterior.
No, I emailed it today. I don't have any exterior. The exterior I pictured was actually, the School of Technology, because I like the idea of artwork.
Yep.
On the outside.
I like that, Bernie.
It's rather large building. Large building.
And,
It's under Jordan.
My third meeting today, I'm just a little burned out.
How do you think?
It's like being back at work.
Oh, God, forbid.
Okay, baby,
We've got a minute.
he wants to have baby duty or something.
Yeah.
I think we contact with him, so. Forgotten. Or was it something I could do with him?
Well, he's driving back from Belfast.
Somebody's coming. And, Sandy, do you want to send that in tomorrow morning to Zoom?
Yeah, oh, I want everybody to look at it first. I made copies, so if there's any,
Yeah.
if there's any real changes.
It would just make some succinct.
And I can send you I'll send it to you all, you know, as a
right.
file.
Oh, great. And I can do it in Word form. It comes out better than PDF.
Okay, great. So you're recommending, or do you want me to stay?
We can do it. I think,
We're gonna start with computer, and then Zoom. It's,
I got it, yeah, I got it. Start the recording.
Did you want me to do something like that to help you out?
we had a meeting yesterday.
Great, okay.
Wonderful,
because it doesn't always happen, although that sounds, they're really working.
Yeah, from the Zoom people, is that what you're saying, the
Looks
sound?
like
or is it-
6:02.
I don't know what Harry's working with, but being able to hear on this.
I got hands on this thing.
I
got
Now
All right. 6:02, we have. Um, Does anyone have any adjustments to the agenda?
I have one additional, we finished a communication to go out on the website, and I just want to hand it out. before, you know,
Great.
So where that goes, I don't know, old and new business, I don't know.
That's fine, and then Catherine. I would like, maybe at the next meeting, we can discuss the document that you,
Oh, that's just the homework for today.
no, the other document about the outline. of the presentation.
Oh, yeah, so,
We'll put that on the agenda for next time.
yeah.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Do we have any public comment for items not on the agenda? None. Everybody has minutes in front of them. We have some very old minutes and some slightly less old minutes.
The whole minute of my mistake, bringing the wrong ones left. Now I've got the right one. So,
Okay,
and maybe everybody needs a minute.
well, maybe just parse these for a second.
Moira, I'm just gonna ask, because I know you were very detailed in getting to Lisa's last name. So I have Rezeni.
We're doing the November 3rd one first.
Sorry.
Catherine,
Your name is spelled
I wish.
Okay.
Does anybody have any comments on the minutes of the November 3rd?
I move to accept the minutes of November third.
I second it.
All right, do we have any further discussion? All right, everyone in favor?
Hi.
All right, well, they're done. That process. That one last
And right there.
come to an end, so we'll move on to the minutes of January 5th.
There's one too many.
Yeah, I think it's in the first, but at least what I have is R-E-Z.
R-E-Z.
Yeah, R-E-Z-E.
And there's a typo down at the second to last paragraph for month, Thursday of the month, it doesn't have that.
Oh, yeah,
H.
no.
Which, where, what, second to the last, yeah. Just so you are aware, I send these over in an email form on an iPad, and Sandy then cuts and pastes and does her thing to send it out, because I don't have. Word.
I think Link's name Linc, not Link, is that right?
I have no idea.
It's short for Lincoln,
Yeah.
so I would think, I didn't know that, I just put
Yeah.
down Link, but I met him again at the.
Yeah, it's
reunions.
not.
Okay, yeah, L-I-N-C, that sounds good.
When he said his name, he said Link, so that's what I
Yeah,
phonetically did.
You do the best you can, and that's
There
all.
would be no, I also thought it was with a K.
thought it was-
I also thought it was the K when you said it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he didn't elaborate that it was for Lincoln, but.
And Denise's name, I really do think has only one Z at the end.
Okay.
Do you have her
R-E-Z
spelling?
I don't think it, I think it is hardly, I think it is exactly how it is shown here,
Yeah,
but without the second Z at the
Oh,
end.
yeah, that makes sense, right?
because I have in my,
What do you have?
well, R-E-Z-E.
She gave two Z's in her spelling.
Yeah, R-E-Z-E-N-I-K-I-E.
I-K-I-E-W-I-C.
No W.
I think I'm,
K-I-
this looks correct to me.
I-E-W-I-C-Z-Z.
All right, I'm just looking at my phone because
Because I
trying to
wrote it
learn how to spell
exactly the way she said it.
All right,
But there could be a,
So did I have it right in there? Or no, that you had it right, you mean?
no, I don't know. It has two Z's and that's what she said.
let's, I
So
will just,
you can double check it by looking under the town website.
Oh, that's true. She lives right around the corner. I can certainly find it.
But that,
if she said it had two Z's, she's found the Z in the middle. Anyways, I'll tell you what, so who's gonna do the research? I will be happy to call her or something, say, okay, girl, what is it?
no, I'll just check the website.
I'm pretty sure it's one Z.
At the end.
Yeah. At the end, three Z's total.
Well, listen, I can do this.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just confirm that. We won't spend too much time on that. The only thing that I would add to the 2023 goals is more specifically the presentation of the project in 2023 would include the project data sheet. So that would just be, that's a concrete goal for 2023 is to.
I'm just gonna say it wasn't, you guys didn't put it in your goals at the minutes. You can add it, but it wasn't there at the time when we went over goals, because we postponed all of that from that meeting to this. Okay. So you might want to make a motion to amend your goals or something like that, but I'm just,
Yeah, I think what the confusion was probably was that when making a presentation of the project in 2023, it would have been, in my mind, included that information, but maybe that wasn't included. So that's something that
So maybe I make a motion that we amend these minutes to say that number 4 would be make a presentation of the project, including a project data sheet. And
that sounds good
and
to
more
me.
in 2023.
Okay, so. I handed you the sheet I had done, so. You want me to change that on that as well, or?
can we just have one person talk at a time, please?
Yes, okay.
So I can get
Let's,
this
okay,
down.
so we're, yeah.
That's good, yeah. So, I'm sorry, hold
So
on one
first,
minute.
the motion, should we do this motion? Is that the right language?
I think we're gonna make a motion on the entirety of the minutes as amended.
Okay.
So the language sounds fine to me.
Okay.
We can also add language if we feel that it is necessary, that the project data sheet will include.
Semicolon and that.
Yeah, and the things that I would say are list of rooms with square footages and uses, total building square footage, rough budget based on building square footage, collection of images generated by this group to indicate the overall look and feel of the building, and written project thesis statement of purpose.
You're gonna have to repeat that, because I didn't get it all, but I'm gonna say again, you didn't do it in the meeting last time. And if you look at what the goals are that Sandy's done, it doesn't state all that. So I think the proper thing to do is
Amend the
amend the minutes with the typos. And then have a motion that you want to correct the goals, and that goes in these minutes.
Okay.
And then we can change it, because it didn't happen
No, it
last
never
time,
did.
and that
we
is
agree.
incorrect to
All
do
right,
this.
so then we
Okay, so
need
strike
to,
that.
let's, I make a, we have to go back on that last motion. I make a motion that we accept the minutes of, January 5th as amended with all the typos.
All the typos.
Yeah.
I second.
All right, is there any further discussion on that topic? Everyone in favor? Thank you, okay.
So now,
So now, maybe we can just, let's do that motion as part of the design discussion,
okay. All right, so that's done.
to keep it in order. That brings us to the nominating. committee.
Yeah, well, we had a really good meeting on, Monday afternoon. Moira, Catherine, Penny and me, Sue Snow was absent. And essentially, aside from approving these packets, which you all did last time, and our committee then, and we redid them, and now they are all set to go to potential board members. And I reviewed with them the goals that we had created for 2023. And we reviewed, a spreadsheet of skills that we're looking for in terms of board members, and variety of skills. Not everybody has, everybody has some, nobody has all. And then we basically went into executive session and we created a roster of 10 names, that we ranked so that we had the first 5 that we would be approaching. And the process will be that 1 or 2 of us on the nominating committee will go and talk with those individuals separately. So we started that process. Once we do those 5 and we see where we're at, then we will start to look at the second 5. I think we had, the nominees were all from our committee, this committee, and Sue, I've encouraged her to go back to the select board. I've been in communication with the select board members with new nominations from them, and so they know. And as far as Penny was, this is really interesting. Penny did not think that she was a voting member of the nominating committee, and I was like, wait a minute, you're supposed to, the bylaws say that the librarian should be on the nominating committee, but I did clarify it. I haven't gotten back to her yet, but I did clarify that it's really up to us to decide. She was a non-voting member of this committee and then resigned from this committee. But we felt, the bylaws, and we all had agreed that she should be on the nominating committee. So it's really up to us to decide whether she's a voting member. And I'm gonna have a conversation with her, so I don't wanna do anything about it right now. I don't wanna talk about it. So,
But thank you for bringing it forward. That's really nice to know. Yeah.
so that's it. We are approaching people this month, and we will meet next month to see where we're at. Some of the nominees are more summer people, and we will be in contact with them by letter. That's my report. If anybody has any questions about that.
Have you contacted any of them yet?
Pardon me?
Have you contacted any of them?
Yes.
Catherine has started, the ones that she's contacting.
And are they enthused? Are
And I'm-
you giving positive feedback? on them?
Well, we have not met. I have an appointment. It's going to happen.
That's my question. Who is that with everybody? I'm just wondering what the
This will go on
response
for the
is.
next month or so. especially. One of the people that I was supposed to contact, her husband got sick, so I felt, so, anyway, things like that. Okay, that's it.
Ambassador gatherings.
The ambassador gatherings, we're going to, we're gonna do this first process of the board contacting people individually, but we want to be able to have, like, for instance, I'll just give an example. We're trying to create a group of ambassadors who are in favor of a new building, or who might just want to know more about what we're doing in the new building. So I might invite one of you all to come, and also a couple of people that I know are interested in the building, and a couple of people that I don't know where they stand on the building. So a group of maybe 6 people at one of our houses. And then in that process, I mean, I find that when I talk to people one-on-one, I get, it's much more encouraging than sitting in a meeting like this. So, my idea for ambassador meetings, we didn't really talk about that the other night, but we could talk, I don't really need to talk about it here either, but, is that during the months of March, April, May, we all contribute. So I might say, Candace, bring over a neighbor and I'll bring a couple neighbors and also have some people that are known supporters. And then we'll have a conversation of the pros and cons of the ambassador gatherings.
Sounds good.
Mhm.
All right, that brings us to the design portion. A couple of you have sent me your homework. I think,
You want to see that?
you can keep it for now and I'll take it with me if you don't mind. And I think the basic thing that I'd like to do is just have a quick conversation about how everyone responded to those 3 prompts. And then I think we can also discuss as part of this, the format and what could be included in the project data sheet itself, just like we discussed. We can do the amendment of the goals. And then pretty quickly, by the next meeting, what I would like to do is take everyone's homework, get the images, and just sort of flip it around and draft the data sheets because we discuss it. I did send out also an updated list of rooms.
Did you bring coffee?
I did not print them, but
It's in black and white.
So I think maybe, and then I'll just remind you quickly, I had 3 points that I sent out. The first one was the rooms. Any comments on the list, first of all, and second of all, the relationship between the rooms. We had a great discussion of interiors last, the last time we showed some images. I just wanted to start up the same process, really thinking about exterior look and feel. And then just a sort of like, everyone take a stab at that project thesis statement. What is the good outcome here? What do we want? What is the feeling? What is the description of the thing? So, and the goal, of course, is to then take all that language, synthesize it into a single statement that uses ideas from everyone, and then we'll workshop that going forward.
That can become part of our presentation.
That becomes part of the presentation, and it becomes helpful in terms of how we talk about the buildings, because it's doing the same message, and it also becomes part of the data sheet itself. So let's start with rooms. Did everybody have a chance to take a look at that through the list? I think I can quickly go over what the changes were. The teen room was added. The office for the librarian was added. The children's room increased in size. Some furniture storage space was added. There are some discussions about, the need for that related to flexible uses. And I don't think I decreased the size of anything, but I did want to highlight that bottom number.
Getting up there.
Go ahead.
In a couple of the other conversations, Penny had asked for more storage for books, and that isn't here. You have storage for furniture when I looked at your new sheet on, which is.
So I thought the way, and this is, let me know if I've interpreted it wrong, which is totally possible. Penny told me that the office was the storage space for interlibrary loan books coming in and out of the facility. And that was the book storage that I feel like I knew about, is if there's need for additional book storage. I would say that some of that is probably captured in my 20% boost at the bottom. But we should add a line for it just to make sure that it's clear there, yeah.
Yeah, I think you need to, because she said that again at our meeting
Yeah.
on Monday, that,
Book storage.
that we needed book storage And for what she explained, it's more down in the depths of a building where they put things there. And so I want to make sure that we have that, you know.
That's for the book sale, that's what fundraisers.
Right, and sometimes when people pass away,
Yeah.
they bring a lot of books, like I did with my mother's books, and they were boxes and boxes. And so that was something that, she had wanted. The other thing that I saw that wasn't on your spreadsheet, and I'd emailed you and we spoke about it at the meeting, was the EV
Yeah,
charger. And that's important to have. So there's a place in South Thomaston that has it.
Or maybe the town should do that.
Well, there are grants for infrastructure
Oh,
that from uni buildings
You're looking
to
for
put in.
grant.
yeah,
And so that's,
should be some event.
yeah,
Yeah, I think the news, we have a couple and they have a new grant to get some.
I added a resale room and it sounds like we've got a little bit of. Book storage is not the resale room.
A location for the book sale, so.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
And that's, maybe that's in the lobby, but the lobby might get a little
Off
bigger.
the lot, yeah, well, if you see where it is now, it's a small room, but it's, very
But
active.
so is it going to be an ongoing sale? Because before
I
she
think
used to
all-
do it was, once a year.
Well, I think if you want the Rockland Library or the Rockland, they all have that room.
Yeah,
So I think, and it's used every time people come in the library, so.
Yeah. So that's important.
Is that the room right in the- yeah.
Yeah, right, we will have that.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And I also have a question. Are you allowing for a basement?
no,
No, this is the whole,
It's going to be on a slab then.
well, it could, basement, yes, maybe, but that's, right now, we're trying to capture the entire square footage. So that we can then look at later, like whether that's one story, or whether it's one story. or basement.
Because I was thinking about that as being storage.
So it's not like this is it, and then there's an additional bunch of square footage that's in the basement. It's, if we need something, we could put it on the list so that we can, figure out, for example, like, if we do need a basement, if it makes sense, and like, how big is it?
Thank you.
Well, can I speak?
Yeah,
I thought, well, we're really getting up there in square footage, this is getting to be not what, we had started with. And I thought, well, why is that? And I was looking at the various spaces. This is how my thinking went. So I was looking at the various spaces, well, that actually is included in some of the other spaces, or it could be, which is another one of your questions, of the overlapping usages of the building. So I started Venn diagramming, because I thought it was really interesting to think about the community room space as being twice as big as the library space, or more or less. And then what things are in that community space that we've given some numbers to. For instance, like the teen room, it seems, and then also the kitchen became really important to me when I started Venn diagramming, because you want to have the kitchen really available to the community room, but isn't it also sort of important to the teen room? I mean, kids and kitchens are important, and if there's a small social place, like for a coffee or something within the community room, that should have access to the kitchen. So overlapping this was really a very interesting thing to do.
Yeah.
Where, you don't need, in the technology space, you don't need the kitchen and you don't need to have certain things. And in a quiet space in the library, you don't need some of those things, but the reception, gallery, office, kitchen, teen, that all became kind of a hub at the beginning.
Yeah.
In the Venn
Yeah, that
diagram.
makes sense. I think that's super helpful. You should send me that.
I'm gonna give it,
Okay, just give it to me.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Can I just ask what number you are getting up to?
About 6,000 square feet.
6120 was on the sheet.
And that includes, at this early phase, that's a guess. That's the size of all those spaces based on, for example, like you need to fit 200 people in the community room, like that's kind of how big it is. And then there's always in these type of documents, like a little, like a line at the end that says like, and then the extra for like the wall thickness and like any mechanical pieces, and like, there's a, and like a hallway, a new hallway. So there's a 20%, that includes a 20% budget factor, basically.
Did you finish the presentation?
I finished, yeah, I mean, I just felt, I really just wanted to say how helpful it was for me to do a Venn diagram. I encourage you to look at these spaces.
So if I can go, I thought about it, same thing, there are two big spaces, two wings. And I don't know how they're gonna relate in which position and so forth, but the library one to me, so obviously it stacks the seating area and maybe one long table, and that could be in one space. It's just where you position the various things, like the seating area. To me, again, like southern exposure, sun,
Yeah,
quiet, so it has to be like at one end, so that it's the quiet as possible. And then the kids' room had to be an enclosed space within that library.
Mhm.
And to me, it makes sense to have it closer to the entrance in case of emergency or whatever,
Of course.
and then, for ease of design, I would put the librarian's enclosed space for where the office is opposite that. So, and also I was thinking the children's room on the roadside so that, there is light coming, people can see that there is activity going on,
Yeah.
and then they're invited to come in and stay and participate. So, and then the other wing. So I revisited the idea of the welcoming areas gallery, and to me, that's like a big square footage that might not be optimally used there. So I was thinking of it in a smaller area, just a small sitting area to start, but the gallery space could be in the community room where you're going to have more wall space. And eventually you can have movable partitions, which can be stored, in the storage area to hang more artwork or whatever. But, so the community wing, which is bigger, to have some kind of parallel, would have a teen room, which would also be enclosed. And I see that as a game room kind of thing with one ping pong table, one foosball table.
Mhm.
And then, kids don't like to sit at tables and stuff. So I was thinking, they are not little kids who want to roll on the floor. So some kind of, if you're familiar with the yoga meditation seating, some of them have we call them jackknife, and they have like a backing where people can, we can sit on the floor, and I could see them, making circles if they want to just play music, a guitar, talk, and the place again, trying to save on square footage, if the ping pong table is closed, that opens more room for them to sit in any organization assembly that they want. And those seats can be then folded and tucked on the shelf, so that saves space. And then I'm saying, the adults are just welcome to come play ping pong and football. It's not just, team, but again, it's a physical room, so it might be more noisy, so, that's why I see it as enclosed somehow. And, facing that, would be, so the equivalent of the librarian office would be an enclosed room as well, but that would be the meeting room, for smaller groups. So I don't know how many, I was thinking 20 people. I don't know how many members are in the Lions group. But, that's kind of the larger group that we have in town that want to meet and, so with audiovisual equipment in that room. And for, safety, security purposes of that enclosed and also quiet. And then the whole rest of the room is pretty much open space, and it will have the kitchen, and I was seeing that on the southern side, garden side, because we have a patio, we mentioned last time, it's easier to bring food outside, if you're going to, enjoy the outside and so forth.
The kitchen turns out to be a pretty pivotal place.
Yes. So right there, but it's like in that big open room, and it's close enough that it's accessible by anybody. And the food has to be limited, I think, to that community room space. No food in the library, and no food, in the meeting room, and no food in the kids' room. I mean, we want to try to limit the messes and so forth. So
You could imagine a kitchen with a couple of tables and, if people wanted to sit and have a couple.
well, but the whole community room would have tables. People need to be able to sit, play games, all the things they do right now. And to me, those tables, same thing, have to be able to move, so that if we need the room for town meeting, more seating, so something like that, but also, so I don't know what the flooring is going to be, but we had mentioned the idea of a studio and a wet area, and Penny made it clear that, I was thinking for a while, maybe the kids' room could be good for crafts as well for kids. And she said, no wet stuff, in that, so, we need an area, so maybe with tile floor or, easily moppable floor. But again, so clear, closer to the kitchen where you're gonna have a sink, where you can do painting, you can do whatever, crafty things.
Yeah.
And so, and then disperse, you can have the table, and if the room is long enough, you can have a partition to close off to save on heat maybe. And the other half being, empty, for exercise, or then, I would like a little stage, to the end of that room, because that will become, when we have a town meeting, it's nice to have the speaker up so that you can see them. And then that becomes kind of a little stage if we want to have a musical group or, a small act or whatever. So this is my vision. And again, I'm thinking of the plot. So where is north, where is south, and, so.
I think the community room becomes the harder one to map out, don't you? I mean, I don't know.
I think it does, but there's also a way to do it. There's an approach where you try and like game out every scenario and make a bunch of really movable things. And then there's another option where it's really just a big room.
Yeah,
And there's,
But the
there are
only-
things that are adjacent to it, and then, it's otherwise you design it in such a way that it doesn't feel like an empty, like dark cavern. It feels like,
The only time we need a really big room is town meeting, but we need a sort of big space for exercise or a sort of big space for yoga. And that happens every week. And those happen.
They've been doing a community student, a lot of activities going on,
Those
and the
things happen every
mahjong,
week.
yeah.
Town meeting is once a year when
Right.
it's learned.
and I think just like, go ahead.
There were things, I know I put on a survey and I saw that that other people responded that there were things that used to happen here. That dances and
yeah.
community dinners, where you'd also, ideally have a big space for the dinners in reach of the kitchen.
And I think also like in terms of how that room gets used on a day-to-day basis, it needs to feel more broken down, like. It's also like a lot of houses have like one big room. and you
Yeah.
Use it as a dining room and living room at the same time, but you do that with furniture, you do it with like an arrangement.
Yeah, you can make it very cozy with decorations and, the materials you use.
And sort of just like let that space be broken down by the way that things are arranged. Without necessarily, you could have a movable partition if you wanted to,
Yeah,
but
but even that is not, unless, if the exercise class is gonna use music, for instance, and there are people in the community, by the kitchen area having lunch and discussion.
Usually those things are scheduled, Catherine, so they're not all at the same.
They are not,
Like, yoga and exercise are not at the same time as,
but
the
will,
cramping
could they
and
be in the
all that.
future? What if yoga moves, to
yeah, so we can-
morning.
that's something to explore. I think that there's both of those strategies or a combination of those strategies.
Yeah.
In terms of letting that space be like a just sort of expansive space that doesn't feel like one giant thing because of the way it's set up. And then you set it up when you need to
Yeah,
as one giant thing, or you can actually literally have it be split, like just into two, perhaps.
so that's accordion kind of thing or
Yeah.
whatever.
That's what it would be.
The other thing that's come to my mind is, I don't know if this is relevant or at all, but I know shelter facility. Are we going to be expected to provide a shelter facility, or is? I know the town doesn't have one.
This is it, yeah.
Now,
And then-
the town office is now the.
I know it is,
But
but.
hold on, I have my hand raised.
Oh, I'm
The
sorry.
shelter is also in Spruce Head at the church. That is an
I
authorized
know,
shelter.
I know. I
But we
understand.
do have two shelters, but we did put on the list for this, and it was one item that got like 48 votes to be an emergency shelter. And so that was why we added showers to the bathrooms and wanted to make sure that we had, generator or battery for power. And so because we want it to be an emergency
Yes.
shelter as
That's
well.
what I'm hearing, and that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
And I think what I would say is, but honestly, like having a big flexible space.
Yeah, could be.
good, but-
Yeah, that becomes, you can
Um,
line people.
But if you're trying
It's
to
big enough
appeal
that
to
people
the
talk
town,
about it.
this might be another way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it should definitely be mentioned. It should be, we should keep that in mind as we go forward. Yeah.
Well, and it was on the survey, and it got a lot on it because I was one of the people pushing for it. But now, with the other committee that's in town for the grant for 50,000, if you took the survey the other day, one of the 3 items was an emergency shelter. So I do
That
think
doesn't
it,
mean it can't be in this building.
no, and it's a big selling point because it is a community center. It needs to be more than just a library, community center
That's why
for
I'm
dance,
bringing it
for this. And it was originally on the list, and it's a point that we need to really push.
That's why I'm bringing it up.
And that type of thing, like, that's almost like an overlay onto the use of the building. And that's the sort of thing that, that's not gonna show up in the list of rooms. There's no room called emergency shelter, but that's the sort of thing that's gonna show up in the text
Yeah.
description that accompanies that very, like, data focused list, like, the uses of the spaces could include all these things, and we've set it up this way so that it's sure to
Yeah,
fulfill these additional functions. So that's why I think it's important to present those 2 things.
mm.
Anybody else? Candace?
No, I'm listening to everything, and I feel like any of my interests pretty much have been spoken up, so we don't need to really.
Which of them, which were your interests though?
Which were interesting. Well, I have to say that, I really think that when I came to the shelter, because I actually thought about that, and I know there was discussion at our last meeting. But, open spaces, definitely, large, community use, I like movable furniture, and I also wanted to bring up that, a maker's room. That's where we can have a nice mess, and that's one of the things I like about that space over there, the maker's room, and it seems to be included in a lot of newer buildings as well, newer buildings, so that you can make a mess, and the kids or the adults have ongoing projects, they don't have to box them up and take them home. They're left in a space someplace, and so that's a key thing. And I think it also needs to be enclosed so that things don't take a walk on the wild side, meaning that, we move things around by accident, and the next thing you know, we've got, yeah, like for me, I'm tearing up magazines right now, so I don't want to be
Well,
making a mess.
Could it be taken care of by a system of shelves where, everybody, project class or whatever gets a shelf to store things? Because adding enclosed rooms to me complicates the design of the building.
Well, I think that's a good point to discuss, but, and I do believe that the children's room, I'm very happy that it's larger. And I do believe that needs to be an enclosed space because they need to be children.
The children's room.
Yeah.
Not the maker space.
The makerspace question to me is one of the tricky ones that is gonna have to be ongoing, because it's not clear totally like where is best for that.
And who are the makers and what has been the demand so far? We still don't have a clear picture of the demographics of the town.
Well, go in and look at the makers room now, Catherine, it's the knitting group that works in there, there's kids in there. And
But that's I've not seen who was in there. I don't know, did Penny ever turn in the numbers of attendance?
I sent numbers to you a while ago that Penny had sent to me.
Yeah.
I still don't think I have them, but I'll check.
Yeah, there, on occasion, there have been, some mini art classes where people wanted to learn how to make something like postcards, I think was one of them, and something else. People sew in there,
Yeah,
so.
so it's fine.
then, yeah,
Why do you have to do that in an enclosed space? I mean, I don't.
I think you have a good point that things will tend to sprawl otherwise. And it will make, it will look messy, and that's not okay. People have organized messes, and I'm one of them, you know, and you know, you have your space, and it's, because we're a nice small town right now, we don't have to worry about that, somebody's going to come and take something, because they're not, you know, and it's a group. A lot of times it gives that person who is starting their project maybe with a group, come in on their own later on, and continue working on it and then take it home. It's obviously not gonna stay there for days and months and years. That's not.
I think one model for this is the Open Studio Lab at CMCA. You go to the art lab,
Yeah.
it's windows on basically one side, a little bit on the other side, and then glass to the, that opens up to the hallway, and then lots of tables, lots of shelves, cubbies, all kinds of stuff for storing materials, very well marked, very well organized, and then there are classes in there. There's, you can go in of a day and make something that there's some instructions, but no instructor for the open part, the open lab. There's Saturday art labs. There's adults, there's children. I don't know what to do about the knitters. You know, but I think the knitters,
they can knit.
They're happy with having a chair.
Almost one, like, I think, yeah, that's a good question. That CNC Art Lab is a really nice,
It's,
it's big,
yeah,
and it's also big, really big.
but it doesn't have, our makerspace doesn't have to be that size.
Yeah, I know, but I
Well,
think,
they accommodate 35 kids, you know, on a Saturday, so that's, we're not doing that.
so I think the one thing that I'm starting to wonder, and this is a little bit counterintuitive maybe, is like whether there's, that stuff actually is another use for the technology room. But just like it's more the, kind of like a work, yeah, I don't know, I think there's, like, let's go other side. I'm just trying to think, like, depending on what the table is in there, whether it's many computer workstations, or if you check a laptop out from the desk and there's a TV on the wall.
I would say no.
I don't think,
I don't think those two
No,
are
yeah.
so good.
I have another question, and I can see it going either way. Whether it wouldn't be a good idea to have a sink in the makerspace.
We talked about that,
Yeah.
and you know, that was the point of putting it across from the kitchen, and if you have it open, you can use the kitchen sink.
Not for painful. I mean, no, if you're doing finger painting and you bring your head into the kitchen, I just kind of think maybe we need our own space, its own sink.
In the
Yeah.
studios in my place, I put sinks in every single one because who
Mhm.
want people, you know, who wants to be dragging all your stuff over to a bathroom
Right.
to wash your
Exactly.
dishes, you know, I don't want that.
And who wants all that in the kitchen?
Exactly.
Not watching the sandwich.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea. So I think that's one thing that we're sort of. I think a lot of the other stuff is starting to sound like we're like in the ballpark in terms of like agreeing on what these spaces look like, although we haven't heard from them yet. But that one, I think we haven't quite figured out. And
Maybe the maker space could be adjacent to the children's area as well, because, you know, they'll, like, we're working on making packets right now for parents to take home in a book, and there's some activities that are put in these little packets, and we're working on getting them there, and with a lot of gluing and cutting and so maker space, voila, you know?
Well, there is the question of the size of the furniture. If you're looking at maker space for kids, you know, how old can they sit at a table like this?
Well, I
Or
think
maybe
you're
they're
both-
on a table.
And they have both now. They have a low table with a little chairs or one section, and then they have these with bigger chairs and the other, you know, in the room. So we can accommodate both. And the cool thing is, adult makers and kid makers can be there simultaneously.
Make
You
the
can get
same puppet.
stools, though, you can also get stools for kids that bring them up. a little bit higher.
yeah, and I think
That's furniture, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, but the lower table, I mean, that's working now.
Yeah.
And I think the
That
rocking
table's
chairs
like
in there.
in the store.
What's that?
We'll have one. We have one person talk, you guys are talking, and I'm, no, and it's hard.
Okay, so bottom line is that maybe we should put our finger up to our finger.
Okay, we'll do that going forward. What were you saying?
I was
Me
just
too.
saying that if you wanna have kids tables and grown-ups tables, and you have tables you can fold up and store, I don't see a problem.
You know, it makes me think of school cafeterias, their tables fold up into the wall.
Yeah.
I see a problem with that because then you put tables in the wall, you can't access the wall, and the wall can be used, you know, for creative purposes, like either drawings or, you know, this is.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know, I mean, this particular furniture solutions, you know, that's way down.
That's way down.
I think we all agree that the goal is to have flexible use by both, in this makerspace by both kids and adults.
So,
Like a place to unify like all of the like messiest activities.
Bravo.
Whether it's knitting, probably knitting is not a messy activity, but like you have children who paper mache or, yeah. So we still don't know exactly where that is.
But you don't wanna be knitting next to a lot of paper mache. I mean.
No, you can do
I think, I mean, just because I'm in the present building so much, these things don't overlap. The knitters are there in the evening, the kids are there in the daytime, and, I don't think we need, you know, we need to be worried about that at this point, anyway. We need to get the rooms that we need.
Yeah.
Duality works.
So so we're still working. Does anybody else? Moira, you haven't,
Yeah, I think you guys are jumping too far ahead. We need a building.
Yeah,
We need a floor plan. We can move everything, but all your ideas are, we've talked about, they're all very good. But it's hard to not start thinking about the building, the shape. We don't need to do flooring right at this moment and furniture because that is the next step. But if we got with the bulletin board here and gave you through, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but we put a square for the community room, we put a rectangle for the kitchen, we want it here, and then we can physically see what the building is going to look like and move it around by erasing so that everyone, you know, Catherine wants the light. People want to make sure it's close to the front door. You start moving all the puzzle pieces and we get some type of idea how it's gonna look. I think that would be very, very good to do. I think, you know, because we're all on the same page where it comes in, you have a welcoming center. The kitchen needs to be on one side next to the multi-purpose room. And I think the maker space should be, needs a sink, it needs to have its area, but it could be a classroom when it's not being used as a maker space. You can have cabinets, you put your stuff in the cubby, just like school, close the door, and all of a sudden you have a classroom that's multi-purpose or a meeting room. There are other things that you can do with the room. It doesn't have to be a standalone maker space. The same thing when you're talking about with the kitchen. Yes, you can have like a counter and a bar, and then tables come, but people can still make their coffee, sit there and chat. And the knitting people, I don't see them needing to be in the maker space. They could be sitting over in a quiet corner, talking and knitting and going over their plans and helping people with the knitting. Well, Curtis is different, but they can do the same thing. But I think that's tough. But I really do think that from every time we talked about the building, we're pretty close to what we want. And if we could, and I know the very first meeting you asked for designs, I did one and gave it to you. But we should be doing that up on the board, and that's the exercise I really think we need to do because we're all saying really similar things. And which is really good that we're all on the same page. And
Yeah, I
we just
think-
have to move things
I
around.
think if we produce. Like, I think this Venn diagram exercise is a really good one related to that. I think. Yeah, I think we can do an exercise like that on the board. It seems like a good thing to do. And if we, what I don't want to do, I don't think we're quite ready for is to like spend time thinking about exactly where all the doors are and all this stuff. A nice diagram of blocks next to each other and things like that is something that I think would also be something we could include in. the-
Yeah.
in the report.
That's all I'm asking is, have a square, a circle here, another square there. For everything to move, the doors and all of those type of things, that's down the road. Once you've got to decide on the space, how big it's really going to be and what's actually needed.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's great. That's a lot of great feedback. It's, I'm happy.
No, but actually too, if you could get, like some construction paper and cut out some of the blocks and then just put it up there for us, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think that's, I would like to do that exercise the next meeting. We're running short on time here, but I think, but we definitely can do that. This would just be fun to go through. I think, if everyone has an opportunity, I know that Catherine, you sent me something. You have some exterior images here.
I just have several views of it, because I thought, I was looking for town, well, everybody has some.
Yeah.
I was looking for not too big of towns, newish libraries and not too big of towns, because I felt like there's some beautiful images, but, in a town of 30,000 people, and it's
Right.
lovely. So the one I got was from Warwick, New York. The town has, I think 5,000 people, some more, definitely more. But, and it has a New England look to it, which I wasn't imagining red shingles, but there it is. So that's what I brought.
You also email me these.
I didn't do it still. I don't think.
I don't think so. It would be good to have them in email form, because all images like
Yeah,
that, things I can put into the document.
Okay, and that one sort of fits in where we are. If we have to tear down the building and rebuild, so.
That's good, so just,
Mine are on my phone,
you
so
can text.
and I'll text you.
That's great, so I think maybe it'll be better to have that discussion when I've had a chance to collect them all.
And then we can do.
And then we can just do a slideshow, or I'll have, we'll start to flip them to the same page and collage them. And the same thing with the writing, I think I would like to review, like everyone just send me a paragraph. Describing, like, in light of what we all talked about, start to basically think about like, what is the thesis statement? Like, I think, Catherine, you sent me one, you sent me some writing.
What has, I got 2 pages of writing here. What goes in a thesis statement? What would be the?
I mean, just distill, like, I think it's just about, what are we capturing, what can we capture about the way that the building feels and the way that the building, should, like, meets the town, exactly the way to do it, and, that we're not gonna capture, in a list of rooms in the picture. So it's really just like, imagine that your goal is to, you're about to show someone a slideshow of pictures and some diagrams, and you want to set the tone.
I'll give you an example. Yes, light, airy, space, multiple use, all the things that everyone has been saying, but they've been saying in a different format. So you're just making it more concise with all the things that we've been saying.
Put it in there. And a little bit of like just helping people make the leap in terms of imagining or.
What are you going to find there? To me, it's like, everything we're going to do there is to build community and strengthen the fabric of the town, the social fabric of the town. People, I see people as being attracted to it because they know it's going to be a happy place, and comfortable. And,
Well, that sounds great. And I think,
You asked us for the key goals of the building.
yeah, exactly.
Which was very different from all this other stuff, that I was, wasn't really a summary, but it actually was like, oh, what are the key goals? A place for community, a place for gathering, to be among friends, among books, among events, and to honor the need for town meeting space.
Yeah, exactly.
social events and that kind of thing. So that was sort of more philosophical, the key goals. rather
Yeah, I
than-
think that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the level we're on
Yeah.
with this little piece of right.
Higher view.
Yeah, exactly. And I think. Well, like I said, I think because I just haven't gotten one of those from everyone, I would like to revisit that at the next meeting and we can actually, I'm just gonna like warn everybody, right? We'll just have everybody read them. Go
It
ahead.
wasn't, when you sent out your email the other day, it wasn't clear that you wanted them sent to you, so that's why
Oh,
this
yeah.
is new.
I'm
You,
sorry, yeah.
you said, bring ideas for exterior, so I brought ideas. And you asked for relationship between rooms, and we've gone through that, but I already made my comment. And then you said, bring stuff about, you said, think about a paragraph writing about a building, and you didn't specify, because, and so I didn't do that for that reason, because I thought we brought it here, and I didn't know that I was supposed to send until Catherine told me she would send hers.
Yeah, so I can just say, like, that's my mistake.
I sent it to him a half hour before the meetings.
So-
Students just.
And I haven't read it, I must have haven't fully like processed it yet, but,
So you want,
so for the homework for
You
next time,
want
we're gonna be
people to-
super, super clear. Send me, in whatever form you can, the exterior images. Send me this short paragraph we just discussed via email. And I will, in that time, update the list of rooms. If you can try and send me that stuff, so I have like one weekend before the meeting. I will. So that would be, I will actually, we can look at the schedule and provide an actual due date.
Would you be open to a second meeting in a month, just to keep us moving a little fast? I'm getting concerned. We're gonna have to talk to people, you know. We need to be ready for the town meeting to have people, you know, make a decision one way or another, and
I think that's a decision for the group, it's fine, like I can, if I get the homework with a meeting, with a weekend before the meeting.
Yeah.
Then I can be ready for a meeting, yeah.
if we go back on our correct schedule, our next meeting is March 2nd, and that's in 3 weeks.
we look at it.
Yeah, and so I think if we, that way, if we have, I don't know if this works with Gabe's schedule, not just, I'm just saying, if everybody got their images and all their paragraph in by the 16th, that gives you 2 weeks for you to get everything
Yeah,
together.
that's fine.
And then
I
let's
can
say
do
that.
maybe be a second meeting in March, because several of us are going to be away in April. So, yeah.
Let's see how the March 2nd meeting goes. And then we can decide.
So,
But I think like, as, you know, so this portion of that meeting will be looking at everyone's exterior images, looking at, reading the paragraphs, discussing the paragraphs, and looking at the start of the format for the data sheet. So that's why I need those images ahead of time. So I'm gonna start thinking about how we're going to put it in the document. And I think the, once we are at that stage, progress is faster.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, that's my proposal. We'll see where we're at and then if we need to do two. But it'll, as long as everyone's good with it. Go ahead.
Just for my clarification, paragraph 3, give me the title, so I know what I'm writing.
Like, I guess the best thing is,
what does the building mean to me?
yeah,
To me or to the town, okay?
You can say me, and then you can put a slash to the
I
town.
just want to all be on the same thing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's really what you're doing, right?
yeah. I think that's,
Marcia, what I did is I made a short paragraph describing what I thought would be in the library space, but then I wrote a paragraph about what I thought it should feel like. So it was more personal,
Yeah,
and then I wrote what I thought the community space needed, you know, just not very long, and then what I thought it should feel like. And then I wrote the key goals for the project were more philosophical.
yeah. But I think Gabe is asking something a little shorter than that.
Yeah, I think take that and.
Well, I'm always doing that, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Along with the kind of down.
That's why I was asking for.
Well, you know, I'll
Send it to me and then, but for next meeting, just still,
But it was helpful to
Yeah.
do all this, because you have to, you know, we're talking about what we want in each room and what this is, you know, what it's connected to and how the furniture and all that stuff. But, you know, kind of getting back to what the building feels like and what we want it to represent and be for
Yeah,
the
and I-
community, and for the future of the community.
and I think just to, sorry, Ken.
That's
You
all
had
right.
your word. Just to sort of get us to what the point of that is that, you know, our whole purpose in this early phase is to get people to believe in this. And the documentation we produce and the way we talk about it is just like, that's a lot of the work that we're doing is figuring out how to do that. And I think that's just like, we're doing that effort to figure out what we're saying, and how we're saying it collectively related to the design.
I think that's important. The one clarification I would like to make, is in this paragraph that we use what if the building means to the community. That was something in the article that I had forwarded to the two of you about how people were getting the town involved in new
Yep.
building and stuff. And that is, it's the use of the community. So we have to take self out. We truly do.
Yeah.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
Well, I
No,
don't think that's
I'm
fair
a
to
member
town.
of the community and, you know, I think it's I know my view and it's like, at least I can express that. How can you pretend to know what the community at large wants?
But that's why that's
What
why I
it
was
means,
saying
right.
before that this may take a little longer than we'd all like. I mean, we're not excited about the dragging. However, we need to hear from the community, like we're showing them visions that we are bringing. And that is good, but it's not for me. It's not for you. It's for the whole town.
And I agree, and that's why we need to have something to present, to have feedback from the
I
community.
agree with that, but again, when you're planning these things, you gotta remember that it's the community that
Yeah.
we've been employed by.
Yeah, what I wanted to say was that I think it's fine that we have different interpretations of what the paragraph should be at this point, and that when we actually see what everyone writes, we'll have a chance to discuss it in more detail. I think that's great,
Mhm.
like.
But at this
Let's
point in
just,
time,
we'll
it's not it.
bring all those views in when we have the discussion at the next meeting, and then we'll be able to talk about it a little bit more specifically, because there'll be some actual language coming in from everybody. Go ahead, Mario.
Two things. I understand what you're saying, Candace, but it's also, I'm part of the community, so I have a feeling and I have a buy-in. So that's why I need to have me part of that paragraph. And then it's the community as well, because there's the other part, and that's why we did the survey. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of people. So the paragraph is twofold. You have both of those things, because if you're not buying into it, it's hard to sell it and take it to the community and ask them, what do they think? So that's why I said me. Secondly, I just want to double check from the notes. Are we saying, are those dates okay? Everything due by the 16th? Or do you want it a different date? I just need to know
The
that.
16th is fine.
Okay. All right.
So that's February.
That's next.
That's 1 week from today, for to give the exterior pictures and the paragraph to Dave.
Yeah.
That gives him a couple weeks to put it all together.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
I don't think there's a disagreement here.
I know. It's like, in the end, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be comparing what it's.
No, I think we want people to know that the building is for them.
Yeah.
That's how.
And that everybody is welcome, yeah.
Everybody's welcome. This is for the good of the community. And actually, one of the financial planning people that I talked to said, get away from thinking only about the building, think about what it represents. So of course, we all have our ideas, you can see what's going on, and we all have good ideas. We have feelings about it, and those are important.
Let's do it.
How it all. It's like a banker I spoke with, said, take out the emotion. Stick to the facts, take out the emotion.
I think it's the opposite. We'll see. The emotion, at this point, the emotion is, the facts. But I think, we'll see, I mean, we're gonna have, both. The goal is that we're gonna have some data to help people envision it, and then we're gonna have the emotion to help them.
I didn't bring in that theory. All right, I'll write mine down. So they know it.
Would you, make sure for the next meeting you bring copies of the new spreadsheet, because I can't print at home right at the moment. So I'm updating the one I got from October.
I'll print a bunch.
Thank you.
I thought that you watch me do that.
And then you have your communication.
Can I bring up this?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, so one of our goals is also to communicate with the public every month. And so, this is what I wrote and Candace has already formatted it to go to Harry, just slightly forward, over. And I just would like, it's zero, get that. So we can get this, the idea is that at our meeting every month, I will bring something, say what we've done in the past month, and we'll get it published every month on the website. So,
Great.
It's missing something at the goal 4, no?
Yeah, I saw that. What did I add to that? Because I added something. Oh, and I wanted to ask you about
that's
that.
what it's, what I was gonna,
Oh,
I guess
good point.
I must have gotten a phone call, I think.
We have created, the title in
Candace did correct something.
They did, just.
Yeah, we look forward to sharing with you and hearing your comments. That's great, Candace. Thank you for finishing my sentence. Where was the other?
goal 1, we have creating,
Oh, yeah, it's corrected by Candace.
Where is that? In goal 1?
Goal 1.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. The idea was to get your ideas done. You did a great job.
Yeah, this is good. Your edits are good.
okay, so all the tense, Gabe and goal 2. Gabe has been leading us.
Oh. Yeah, I think something that's,
Yeah, I think it's just Gabe has leading us,
Yeah.
Gabe is,
Yeah.
or Gabe has been.
and I think that too.
I was leading on.
I was changing things.
You know what?
Okay.
Also, the word just
Gabe,
proper is
continue.
license. It says.
I would say he is. leading.
A licensed architect?
Yeah.
Licensed architect.
Okay.
Gabe
All
is
right,
leading.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Gonna have.
Yes, you want this back?
No, I've got that at home and I've just made my little thingies here. Yeah, and where it says Gabe has leading, I think that Gabe continues to lead us through the envisioning process.
Yeah.
Okay, or just say Gabe is. leading.
With the goal, so I think the goal is to produce the project data report by June. So finishing the envisioning process is, we should make sure clear what people are gonna expect.
With the goal to
Complete
complete
the project data.
project data.
Yeah, the project data report by June.
I will take that copy from you afterwards, then you just got that, thanks.
So goal 3, you're not talking about the mailing then, the mailing is off the table.
Should we put mailing on goal 3, a townwide mailing? I didn't.
And eventual mailings to everybody, to all residents. I think that's a short way of reaching out.
Kind of keep, yes, gatherings, flyers. And mailing, okay.
Townwide mailing. That's townwide mailing. Okay.
Rebecca texted that you forgot your phone.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
And you,
That's
she knows I have this iPad.
Question on 3 and 4, you're saying you're going to hold public meetings. Have you any idea yet when?
Probably May. When we would do them. Because we're gonna be doing
Sooner,
them.
I mean, if you're gonna be doing that, this is gonna be monthly. So as soon as you can, if you can indicate a date in the, whatever public announcements, and hope people will put it on their calendars.
So do you want to add in there public meetings?
I don't think you're ready.
We're
yet,
not
but-
really, we talked a little bit at one meeting about doing one here, one at the Historical Society and one at Sprucehead Community, so that the different people in different places.
Mhm.
Somebody said, what about all the people over on Route 131 along the river? You know, we're just trying to cover. So we really talk about it.
So let's put that on our agenda for next time.
Wonder if we could post something at the event center.
I know.
Okay, I'll work on that. I'll work on that.
Both Waterfield.
Would it be prudent to say public meetings to be?
You've
held,
never
or
heard of that
Would that
before?
be prudent to say, or should we just leave it?
I would say like we'll hold public meetings, like the schedule will be
To be scheduled.
announced in future episodes. Yeah.
Okay, or just leave it for the moment and then see.
Yeah.
I would leave it because we have the nominating committees doing one thing, and then you gotta get
Yeah.
and the next meeting's gonna be kind of full with the design. I don't wanna put something out and then we don't follow.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be
That's
just that
true.
this is coming. And then once it's there, you can start having them more often, but you don't wanna put something up and then there's nothing.
I agree,
Yeah.
I totally agree.
That's a good point. Okay, so we want to get a motion to approve this as amended.
So I move to accept it as amended, second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Anyone in favor? Great. Great work. That's, well, we have no correspondence. Reviewing items for next agenda, I think we're clear on that. The March meeting, we discussed March 2nd, 6 p.m. at the town office.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna be using the whiteboard. And that's it. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make some push back.
And seconded by Candy. Yes.
I like the idea of that, finding the craft room